Jake Crawford, worked for the wastewater department, been here 7 years.
Jim Denton, I'm the wastewater system supervisor. I've been here 16 years.
Eddie Donald, worked for the electric department, crew foreman, been here 23 years.
Jimmy Stewart, electric department, construction foreman, been here 18 years.
Austin Binkley, lead operator at the water plant. I've worked here for 8 years.
Kelvin Pittman, I work for water distribution operator. I've been here going on 12 years.
Todd Blazer, I'm the waterworks inspector, and I've been here for 28 years.
I'm Jason Carter, I'm the waterworks foreman, I've been here 15 years.
We started that morning, for us out here on the dock, it was pouring the rain. Best I remember, it rained a lot that week. I mean, we watched a lot of hurricanes come up the coast and wasn't expecting anything any different.
We started seeing some things deteriorate a little bit in the distribution system as far as, like Kelvin was saying, we had some leaks in Cosby area, and it just kept escalating as the day progressed. And, probably mid-afternoon, we went to our raw water intake system, and it hadn't even crested yet, but it was already higher than I ever imagined the water getting.
For all the wastewater plants in the floodplain, a lot of our pump stations are in the floodplain. Flooding for us, it was kind of, normal. So we just really didn't think anything of it, just another day. So we're just going through the motion, preparing for, cut pump stations off in case they get flooded, which is not uncommon, but we did not expect for it to be as big as what it turned out to be.
We're out doing the normal stuff, like Jim said, that we do when it floods, turn around, turn off certain stations, because the river level, we can get up to them. And just thought it was another high water event, because nothing like this had ever happened before.
Our day started as soon as we got here. The rain, and I'm pretty sure the wind was blowing. We started running trouble as soon as we got here.
I think we was aware that the interstate had problems, that you couldn't get out by the Hartford area. So we went up to Del Rio, which we crossed the Del Rio Bridge there, and it was up like it had before. I mean, it's never uncommon for it to get out of banks up there. So we went on up into Del Rio up on Bull Mountain, worked there for a little while, and we was hearing some, I think, traffic on the radio, and I thought, we might ought to get out of here in case the river is getting up. So we come back out, and by that time the river was out of the banks onto the road at the 107 road.
A little small leak down here, and midday we was watching the rescue squad unload a boat in the middle of the road on Little Springs. Things had escalated that quick.
I got a call from Kelvin, and we were talking about how to isolate stuff, and he said, we've lost the river crossing, and I knew probably Boozy Cove was gone. I said, Kelvin, where you at? And he was telling me where he was at, and I said, well, which river crossing are you talking about, Kelvin? He said, we've lost the river crossing. I said, which one? Because I knew they had Breezy Cove out. And he said, maybe all of them. And so I knew it was going to be an event that we've never seen before.
The guy that rides with me, Brandon Caldwell, it was mine his Friday to work. But anyway, we was together, and I remember we had to stop in the middle of Cosby Highway, and we was in water up to over our boots, I guess you would say, trying to find the valve to kill that line.
And then all of a sudden, it wasn't 5 seconds that these ain't gonna deep in the parking lot. And that's when I was like, all right, well, we need to start getting our equipment out of here. So we started to get the flush truck. The guys started taking their personal vehicles out. And I'll never forget the look on Greg's face. I said, Greg, your little Honda Civic, it's just, we're going to have to find somewhere to put it. You ain't gonna get it out here. But within no time, it was above ankle deep. It was, you know, it was shin deep then. I was like, oh, what's going on?
We all piled in the dump truck and took out. And luckily, the road leaving the plant is straight, so I didn't have to guess where it was. I know if I just stayed to the left of the train, we were good. But there were railroad ties floating at us. There was trees floating at us, and got up so far, and the truck was empty, and it was starting to float. Water coming over the hood, and then the truck died. Or I seen water in the mirror, and I thought, where's that coming from? I looked closer, and it was coming out the exhaust, and the truck fired back up. And there's no reason for an engine cranking it full of water, and, other than God was with us, ain't no doubt. And that morning, when I went in to wake my boy up to take him to school, he was already awake and he was praying. You know, the thunder, you know, they've been flooding and hurricanes. It's time to get up. He said, hold on. And I went back in. I said, what was you praying for? He said, I was praying that everybody would be safe in the hurricanes. And after we got out and got up there to the main office, I called my wife and I said, tell Ridge I used up every bit of his prayer there a minute ago. I'm glad he said that this morning.
We knew we needed to conserve water and we couldn't pump any more water, but the evening when the devastation had already hit, we were able to conserve about 1 million gallons of water at the water treatment plant. We isolated one of our storage tanks and we were able to hold that water there, and we knew that, you know, whatever happens over the next day, we've got 1 million gallons of water right here at the water plant. So
That decision became paramount, and the amount of time it took us to get the service back on to our customers. Saving that 1 million gallons enabled us to be able to get potable water to our lubrication pumps and be able to get our transmission, raw water transmission pumps running again.
And we started losing whole circuits around 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And then we followed our plan and stayed with it on outages, me and Eddie, we've been here, we've worked tornadoes here, snowstorms. I don't think I've seen as much damage from a flood.
They were seeing stuff out there that we wouldn't seen, you know, the lines are shaking, wire going down, you know, people was calling in about this and that, and we couldn't even get to them, you know, and that's, in your mind you think, okay, well, what are we gonna see when we get out there? And then when we got there, that was what, like Jimmy said, we've been in tornadoes, snowstorms, the destruction that it brought. I mean, it's like, man, it's what you see on television. You know, you don't even see that here, you know.
It was hard just to sit there and watch because you want to try to do something, but you can't do it. And you know, that's all you can do is just sit there and watch. Because I mean, and wait until it's over with. But that's one of the hardest parts.
that was the first challenge. We had to wait for the river to recede before we could even assess the damage. We didn't know what sort of destruction had taken place. The next day, the water had receded enough to where we could actually get in the building, and water had been in those electrical cabinets, and we knew that this was a big problem. We were under the advisement of the state, we ended up issuing boil water notices countywide, and out of abundance of caution, and we started formulating a plan at that point, how we were going to get our intake back up and running.
Kelvin and I, we had worked for basically all Monday, just isolating stuff, trying to, what water was left in different pressure zones in the tanks. And some of those neighborhoods, they continue to have water. But we had everything pretty much isolated. And then on Tuesday, when we got the pump running and were able to send water out, it was all about flushing. And so this summer we started getting water, we started sampling, and then sometime Tuesday we were able to get another pump started. So we were really rolling on
Oh, yeah.
by Tuesday.
Just trying to figure out what was tore up and if we had the material to fix it back and actually getting in the river, you know, to actually get to the pipe to start fixing it back. That was for the water side, that was our biggest challenge.
The biggest thing that I remember too from that is how happy those people was up there that we got their power on that quick, because they were expecting weeks. You know, we had it back on in a couple of days, I think. But the biggest challenge was building roads and accessing their line, because the stuff was gone, you know. It's like a war zone, you know. That's why I kept saying it's like a war zone.
One question I always get asked is, what was your all's plan? Well, how do you plan for something like this? There's not really no plan. I mean, even if you had a plan, it's gonna change within 5 seconds. I mean, it was every morning, just like they said, we got together and that first thing in the morning, planned what we needed to do next. And, you know, we executed that, but every day it was changing. And sometimes by the midday it changed. There's something else that'd be something, you know, change up, you know, try something different. It was a lot of, not bragging on ourselves, but a lot of just knowledge and skill that if you got enough competent people working here, you don't really have to plan too much, because everybody just works together and just knows exactly what to do.
I noticed that just the citizens in this town that come together and help one another carry water for people to just to put in the back of their toilet, to flush their toilets. I mean, just the citizens, the people in this county, the way they work together, along with these other outfits. And it was amazing.
It's a blessing that Techwell was able to repair the control panels as quick as it was. And it was a blessing to all the people that come and help. It was inspiring to see the county come together the way they did.
I think as much as the damage we had on all three departments, as far as company, community, outside utilities, severe damage. I mean, we had crews from a mile, and that's all the way from Memphis, Tennessee, North City, Service Electric, office personnel, as far as getting food to us. I don't think we could draw up an action plan or emergency plan that went well smooth.
For me personally, was how things can go from standard and normal to horrible in a matter of just hours. And I'd never experienced that sort of, trouble in just a short amount of time. But like everyone here is kind of saying, we've got some really hard-working people in this company, and to see everybody come together like they did was all shouldn't have done it at the water treatment plant without everybody coming together. And
Of course, my biggest thing is safety. I don't recall of us having anybody hurt through all that. That's amazing.
Everybody knows about Asheville and everyone and stuff, but we had it a lot better than what they had. So the way I always look at it, bad as you think it is here, somebody else has always got it worse.